episode, he was basically telling us how the medical field works and all of that. So we're doing a second follow-up interview session. Good day, sir. How are you?
Oh, finally, Pongani, thank you very much for again for coming back and continue with the interview.
Yes. Okay. So as we previously stopped, I was going to ask, what do you think South African students who studied outside the country, like Cuba, Russia, China, and so forth, how do we incorporate them into South Africa's health system once they're done with their studies?
Yeah, first of all, one need to know why are the students going to study in Cuba, Russia, and other places. And then I just saw a clip, today where students from Cuba who have finished their studies were arriving in Kinshasa airport, and their families were, welcoming them into the country. So well done, students. The medical university have got a certain number of students to take. So they can't take everybody. Many are applying and then they've got limits. So that's why government is sending yourself, I've been to Russia, students to Cuba. Although that of course cost us some money, but we cannot accommodate everybody. People will talk bad that why is government sending students to Cuba? They are wasting money. That's not true. The students cannot be absorbed, all of them. So that's very, very important. And we need about, to produce more doctors. At the moment, I think the universities in South Africa are producing about 1,200 students per year.
It's still too
It's too low. If we can produce, maybe in the next year we've got a target of say 1,008, and then the other year maybe 2,002 and so on. Then we'll reach that ratio which is recommended by the World Health Organization. So students who are studying from other countries have got a challenge when they come back, because the way they are trained in other countries might be different, and there might be priorities. In Cuba, for example, I think their priority is prevention.
Preventative measures.
Yeah, they prevent diseases, which is what actually everybody should do, and they are very successful. Their mortality rates and other parameters, milestones which need to be reached, they are far ahead of most of the countries, especially South Africa. As you remember, in South Africa, we're more on the therapeutic. We wait for the disease to happen,
Yes.
and then we treat it, which is very expensive. And let's say you've got a Cuban doctor and a South African doctor.
Yes.
And then this South African doctor do a brain transplant on a person. And a Cuban doctor goes to the rural area where there is a cholera, for example. And this Cuban doctor go and educate the rural people there about cholera, how to prevent it, and so on. Who do you think will be in the front page of the newspaper?
In terms of media, I think the brain
The brain surgeon will be there. I mean,
Yes.
he is done. But I think the person who did well is the doctor who went there to prevent problems. So that's why South African is more of therapeutic, heroism, new technologies, and so on. These students, of course, when they come, let's say they're from Cuba, they've been trained in preventative. Now they find this therapeutic environment in South Africa. So they are going to have challenges because they need to know about drugs. Maybe there they were not used to treat people with many medications. They need to learn, that's called MIMS, which all the medicines are registered with their side effects, usage, and all the contraindication. So it's going to be a challenge because they were not more of treating diseases. They were more of preventing illnesses. So that's a challenge. So such students, when they come back, probably they'll have to go through the health professional council, where they'll have to be registered as medical interns. And I'm sure some of the countries, the council might force the student to write an entry exam into the South African medical profession. And then these students will have to go to, say, a teaching hospital, where they can be with their internship and all those things. So they can get a lot of teaching there to adjust to the South African environment. So those are the challenges, to change from a different medical training
System.
and focus on preventative. I don't know in Russia what.
It's a mixture of both.
It's a mixture of both preventative and curative. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So that's where you have to be, and also maybe the disease profile.
Yes, it's very
in the
different.
countries were different. You find that in South Africa you can have waterborne diseases because of lack of water, sanitation. People are still use pit latrines in certain places. So you have to learn new illnesses. So these doctors will eventually adjust, but it's going to take them some time. So the only thing is to work very hard.
Yes.
So if you're an intern, you're coming from other countries, the Health Professional Council have registered you. If you have written an entry exam, you have passed, now you are at the universities being, taught the South African way. You need to work like a 3-man horse.
Oh, 3-man horse, not 3 years, yes.
Yeah, you work 3 times in order to
catch
when
up.
you finish,
Yes.
you'll be at an advantage. You're good at therapeutic medicine. You're even good at preventative.
Yes.
So you are more balanced and holistic. Unlike, us in South Africa, where you come in, we're already thinking of giving you something.
Yes, antibiotics.
Yes, we're not there to talk to you that, look, go stop smoking. You need to exercise. Rarely that, people talk about this. When you come and a person who has got this problem, which you can even see, people will just ignore it because they want to see that person write a prescription or give them medication and say, we'll see you when, But, like, for example, let's say a person is coming with a problem, stress-related problem.
Yes.
There are a few psychiatrists in the country and psychologists. Sending them there takes time. They have to wait, especially those who don't have private insurance like medical aid.
Yes.
They'll have to wait for some months before they get up. So, as a general practitioner,
Yes.
you need to do something, in the meantime, to
Help.
do a little bit of some counseling. Not that you are, really an expert in that, but most of the people say, no, fine, you're stressed. You'll get your appointment in 6 months. Here's the antidepressant. Here's the sleeping tablets. You see, that's it. So, this student from foreign trained students, we need them.
Yes.
We need them because we've got a shortage of doctors. And the other thing is that these students, most of them end up working in rural areas where we've got a shortage. As you know, South African trained doctors, as soon as they are finished with their internship, community health, they want to go to the big cities.
Yes, all the metros.
Yeah, they will tell you that, no, I'm getting married. The place in the rural, my children are small. There's no school there. I can't take them to boarding schools. So they want to come to the big metros and so on. So these students from foreign trained students, they are very valuable. Not that they are being abused, that they are inferior and they must go and work in the rural. But most of them, when they left, I've seen some of the applications where you find that the student come from a very deep rural area, and the government take them to this country to train. And the students, when they write their motivations there, they say, when I come back, I want to come and help my local people.
Yes.
So I think they should fulfill that, promise. Yeah, not that they have been discriminated against. That no, you're afraid, you must go and work in rural area. No, most of them, I've seen a lot. I've helped them to complete the forms, and then and government also, I think, need to give preference to students in the rural area.
Yes.
To study as doctors. Yeah, even in South Africa and elsewhere. And then the student might make a promise.
Yes.
That when I finish, I'll go and do 3, 4, 5 years in my own rural area. Later on, maybe they may move elsewhere as other new doctors are qualifying from the same area. So you've got, outgoing doctors and incoming doctors.
Yes.
So that's what we need to do, really.
As a country.
As a country, yes.
Yes. So, what advice would you give the current health system to help these students integrate into the system? Because you get the cases where the foreign students, when they come for their clinicals, they complain and say, we're treated unfairly because we're from so-and-so country and we can't exactly get the teachings from the South African.
Yeah, that's a human behavior, People will have that, subconscious competitiveness and some class issues. People might say, Cuban doctors, they are not good and so on, because, or Russian doctors, they don't know the language here, and, they cannot prescribe medicines, they might kill people and so on, which is not necessarily true. So, I think people must move away from that and judging people and putting some class factors. That if you've qualified from here, you're good. If you qualified from whatever, is to get these people, help them, support them, in whatever, for the sake of the country, for the sake of them going to spend such a long time in foreign countries, training as doctors. So teachers, professors, medical schools must help these people. They actually need a special attention more than locally trained doctors. You see, so also you must be human. You must think, even if there is some competitiveness, professionally, class competition. But as a human, think of that person. They went there, they were dedicated. They loved the country. So come here, support them, teach the South African way of doing things, learn from them also.
Yes, because
people think, no, I don't want to Cuban, I don't want to hear anything about the Cuban. But they can tell you a lot, And the other thing, I've seen lots of Cuban doctors specializing and becoming very good specialists. There was a physician who qualified from Russia. I think he's in the Free State. He's interested in diabetes. He was presenting diabetes at a big meeting. He was very, very good. Look at the lady, I think, who is a neurosurgeon or now who just qualified. A black lady.
Yes, the youngest one.
Yes. She qualified, I think it's from Cuba. Yeah, so Cuban doctors, by letting them adjust to the South African environment, they can do far much better. So we need to help them. Actually, what should happen is that if they come into the country and go, let's say, to VETS, University of Pretoria, whatever, this teaching university, they must also, during that period, let them come maybe when they're free to us as private general practitioners to assist them in the local, setup, and then, also help them to adjust to primary health care, which we are doing. So they'll just come there, work with me, and then in that way they'll learn quicker. Because teaching hospital are teaching hospital. So they are dealing with serious illnesses. We are dealing with day-to-day issues.
Yes.
So government need to think about that
Yes.
so that we can also help them to be integrated
Yes.
and come and be part of the medical community, which will be interested in all South Africans and eventually participate in national health
Yes.
insurance.
Oh yes. Earlier on, you touched on medical schemes, like for example, your Discovery, your GEMS, your Bonitas.
Yeah.
How are they treating doctors in terms of claiming of funds and all these procedural legalities which we're facing in the country?
Yeah, at the moment, this is the big debate about this medical aid and healthcare providers. In the medical industry and any other firm, there will be fraud, abuse and waste and so on. So, but people felt that black people are more targeted than their white counterparts. Those are, perceptions. But the Council for Medical Schemes, which is a regulator of medical aid, have instituted an investigation, an inquiry, headed by, I think it's a lawyer, a senior counsel, will investigate this racial profiling. People haven't come with, examples of say, no, I was there, I was treated, because of several factors. These things build a perception, and this investigative panel will have to unpack this and find out whether there is racial profiling or not. And number two, black doctors and Indian doctors were complaining they're the one who are being investigated. So also those things need to be proven. So the medical aids, because this is not, an informal thing. This is an inquiry. They must come forward and check how many white people were called for abuse, fraud, waste into the office. And that will help to deal, to confirm or not confirm the racial profiling. So I'll just going to speak quickly and summarize because this is a long, topic and very, very important. There is a section called Section 59 in the Medical Schemes Act of 198, Act number 198, I think. So this section says, if a medical aid pay you in bona fide, good faith, when you claim, and they realize later that actually they were not supposed to pay you for whatever reason, fraud, waste, abuse, and so on, then they can claim that money back from you, you see. But the medical aid are abusing this section. What they do, they will say they are doing ordinary audits of practices and say, we are auditing each and every practice. We need receipts of all your purchases of, say, medicines, sometimes even equipment and so on, to prove that you had, authentic invoices which you bought from whoever supplied you with, and then you use this particular product to their patients, give it to their patients. So we want to show whether you had this particular products or not, or whether you're using stolen products.
Yes.
Maybe you're buying stolen medicine, or you are writing those medications but you don't have them. You're claiming for them where you do not have. So that's what they are looking for. So by just saying you are auditing people and looking for that, what they do, they use a computer model which will generate, let's say in this area, let's say I'm seeing 25 patients. somebody is seeing, or maybe as a group, we're seeing 20 to 30 patients